Hey everybody, On the Run with Beards and Dunn is back, and we have a guest. And Beard, before we introduce our guest, this is the first, I hate to even admit this, woman that we've had on as a guest. You know, we've gone back to the archives, and it's all been fellas, and we've gotten a bunch of comments about what male chauvinists we've become. And I no. And you know, Dick brought up Patti's name months ago. And it was one of those that we have on the list. You know, we've got people and for some reason, Patti, we are kind of male. We come from that generation. I hate to admit it, but you know, you were on the list. And so Dick reached out and you were gracious enough. And I had to do a little research because I've kind of known a lot of the runners through, you know, Dick's relationships. And I'm just a fan of running. I've always loved it. And Dick will tell you that. And so I knew about you, and I think I told you I met you once, and you don't remember it. And it was at Houston in '81, and you were the hit of the party because you had won the race, and Dick was on cloud nine because Billy and him had a great duel. And well, long story short, the more I looked into your career, the more impressed I am. And I told Dick this yesterday. I said, I think as far as underrated runners go, Patti Catalano Dillon is that it's not fair because it's outstanding.
Oh my gosh!
You know, and I posted some things on Facebook, and I'm gonna, you know, American road records: 8K, 10 mile, 15K, 20, 30K, half marathon, marathon. Those are all American records. 3 of those were world bests or records: 20, 30K, and the half marathon. 4-time winner of Honolulu,
and the 5 miler. Was
the 5 miler? Yeah, you're back in the day before when we still did the English. We didn't do 5K back in the day.
Mileage difference. There's distance difference.
I love it. Yes, 300ths of a mile.
Right.
3 times second.
It means something.
It does. It does. If I had an American record, trust me, you'd know about it.
No, wait a minute. I had 5 miles. Let me see. What 5
8K.
miles, 10K, 15K, 10 miles. 20K, half marathon, 30K, marathon.
It's hard to keep up.
I had the 5 miler, I think 2 or 3 times. I had the 10K 5 or 6 times.
Wow.
I had the 15K 2, maybe 3.
Beards, how many American records did you have?
Oh my gosh. I always came up just like when I ran 209. Well, when I ran 209.36 at Grandma's in 81.
Oh, yeah, you came out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, I was 9 seconds off of Bill Rogers' American record.
Yeah, you missed it by 9.
In 82, Salazar and I missed.
Oh, I know. You and I and Craig Virgin are in the losers club.
Yes, we are.
The reason Patti says that, Dick was second at Boston. Craig Virgin was second at Boston in 81. Patti was second in Boston 3 times.
I know, so I'm the biggest loser.
You know, that is just, I'd take anybody to take a second at Boston and that'd make your career. You got 3 of them. You also have a second at New York, which
I know, that's it. Rub it in.
But Patti,
well,
you know, at the time you were. So at New York, that was when Greta Weitz was making her thing. And then the other times was Joni. Was that when she was kind of coming into her own?
Well, she won
Boston.
She had won Boston in 79.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She's had a new American record there, 235. And she had been a good college. She was, we're just so different. You have to remember the time then.
Yes.
I was lost.
Your story's amazing.
I was lost, and I fell in with running. I thought I would lose weight. I did, but my very first run, I did lose weight, my first run, but it was just water weight. But I was so taken with the depth, the vastness, the joy. I didn't know these words then, like, you know, with running, like I had this feeling that I never had before. And like, nobody gave it to me. I didn't know how else to get it. And I thought, I just love this feeling. And if I had to run and hurt this badly,
right.
Because running is very hard. It's very hard on your body. It's a nice flow. And I did have a nice flow my first run, I guess. And I was so sore afterwards. And I was laying in my bed reaching for my cigarettes. And I thought, if I could feel, I couldn't reach them because I was so sore. I was dehydrated. You don't know all this stuff, but I was just so sore I couldn't move. And I was laying there in my bed and I was having my cigarette and I'm thinking, wow, if I have to do that to feel this good, I'm going to do it.
Wow, I love that.
Well, Patti,
That is a
let's
great
go
story.
back. Let's go back in your earlier years. So, did you run in high school, junior high?
No,
Kind of give us
no.
a little background. How did you get involved in this great sport of distance running and be so good at it?
Well, thank you. Well, I graduated high school, went to junior college for a year and a half, kind of dropped out. I was lost and I blew up. But because, I was floating. I had nowhere to go. I don't know what I'm going to do. I thought I was going to be a nurse. I got waitlisted because I didn't have sciences. And it was this whole thing. And I was working as a nurse's aide and I was taking care of this patient. And the patient's daughter came in to visit and I knew the daughter. I graduated from high school with her and she looked stunning. And I thought, she went to college. She looks beautiful. She has a briefcase. She cut her hair. She's wearing a navy blue suit. And here I am. Not a nurse. I'm a nurse's aide.
Right.
I was a nurse's aide for 10 years. I love my job. I better be a nurse's aide than a nurse, I thought at the time. And in any case, I went back to the nurse's station and she was like beautiful. And I sat down and the buttons on my uniform as I sat down spread. So I didn't swear then, but I do now. I didn't swear then, but I would have said something really uncomplimentary.
Right.
And so I looked at it and I went, oh man, I got to do something. I didn't know what else to do. And I said, well, I'll just lose weight. I don't know how to lose weight. But you know what happened was when I wanted to lose weight, what it came down to, Dick, I got the next morning, I'm still like charged. I got a notebook because I had notebooks left from college. And I sat at my counter in my basement apartment and I wrote, I really did this. I wish I had the paper. The Be Nice to Patti campaign.
Tell us about that.
Well, I wasn't going to run or anything. I had such a harsh upbringing. I worked like a dog. I lived in a basement apartment, which was fine. And I lived as though my mother was like right here, washed my floors, cleaned my bathroom, cleaned my refrigerator, had regular furniture, not like mishmash, but I actually got like furniture, colonial. My taste was colonial then. And I wrote out that I was going to spend 1 hour a day for me.
Yeah.
And I was going to be nice. And I didn't know what I was going to do in this hour. I started doing bubble baths with candles because Helen Geary from Cosmopolitan magazine said, this is what you do. It was at that time, it was like my Bible. And I did that and it didn't cut it. It just didn't cut it. And from there, I did Baskin Robbins ice cream. I learned Swiss cheese. Matt didn't cut it. And I was walking by a store in downtown Quincy, Massachusetts. And in the store was it was a bookstore. And they had a display of books. And there was this doctor with a stethoscope. And it was aerobics. I stood there and I looked at it and I said, aerobics? What's aerobics?
Right.
My vocabulary, So I for the life of me, I do not know why, I walked over to the aisle, to the front and picked up the book. And when I picked up the book, I thumbed through it. And I learned in there, it's 3,500 calories in a pound. And I thought, oh my gosh, I I'm big, I'm a size 14 in at that time in clothing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much to lose. But, that wasn't really my point. And I said, okay, the fastest thing you could do to lose weight, if you burn 700 calories in an hour of run, this thing called jogging. And jogging was running. Right. And I thought, well, why don't they just say running? So he told me I read that, wear your most comfortable pair of shoes, most comfortable pair of pants and clothes. So I said, okay. So my most comfortable pair of shoes was a pair of knockoff Tom McCann Earth shoes. They cost me $19.
You're right.
Yeah, and they had wide toe box, which I still love. Wide toe box with the, negative heel. And my father was a boxer, and he was always trying to sweat it out or something. So I went down to the house into the hope chest, and I got out the neoprene sweat belt, and I put 2 of them on, and I put sweatshirts on this next day. The next morning, I put the sweatshirts on, and I had Daisy Dukes because they were my comfortable pair of, they didn't have running clothes then. There's nothing.
No.
There's nothing. I don't know anything about running. I just know that I'm going to run this hour.
Wow. What year was this, Patti? What year? Do you remember
76.
what year? Okay.
76. So what happened, I rode my bike to the cemetery because in the cemetery at Quincy, it's looped. It's a big loop. And nobody's there. Really. Nobody. So I'm running. And I just know that my breath, my motion, and my sweat. There's a moment when you start sweating where you're very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I had made it through that, and there was like a poof. And I was like, wow, this feels good. And so I'm running, and this, I'd still be running if this didn't happen. But you know what I mean? A car, I could feel a car come up on me. And I'm running, and I kind of look, and it's a cop car. And he rolls down his window and he stops. And so I stopped because he stopped, which made me think I should stop. So I stopped, and I look at him, and he says, he has his hands on the wheel, and he says, "Hey, what you doing?" I'm jogging. Oh, and he looks at me. He sizes me up. And he goes, okay. And he drives off. But the spell is broken. It's like, if I could swear that, if I knew the words, I would have swore. But I didn't know the words, so I didn't swear. I just went, huh. So I went back to the Quincy Y. I walked in, and, they have the person behind the desk who gave you a towel or your key for your walker or whatever. So I went walking in, and I went, whew. I just said my key number. I got my key, and nobody said anything to me. They just looked at me. And I walked into the locker. I'm the only one there. And I start peeling off my sweatshirt. I'm like, ugh. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And the neoprene is stuck. So I have holes in me now, from the little neoprene holes.
Yeah. So
I peel it off. And then on my way to the shower, I see the scale. And it's, the doctor scale. So I say, well, okay, I get on it because I know how much I weigh because I weigh myself at the hospital all the time. And so, I lost 3 pounds.
There you go.
I thought, wow, by the end of the week, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. Wow. Who would have thought? So, I'm pretty happy and not bad. So I get in the shower. Dickie, Mike, as soon as the water hit my forehead, I kid you not, I just held on to the thing, and I just I inhaled and I exhaled. And when I did, it was something I hadn't experienced before. It was, I don't know, a quiet, I don't know how to describe it, like a quiet joy,
Yeah.
a satisfaction. There was a deepness, there was a depth. And I knew, one, that there was a God. Two, I had it. And I didn't cry. I didn't cry. Crying is different. Was a weep. I wept.
Yeah. Wow.
I wept. And I finished the shower. I got dressed and I was quiet. I went home, got dressed. I had to go back to work. So I walked to work. And when I went to work, I had to be to work 3:45. I went to work, got my list of all the patients I had to take care of. And I wasn't much of a talker.
That's hard to believe.
I know.
I shouldn't have laughed.
This was a byproduct of the running and all of that. I was in the utility room. We're having a cigarette break, and I could see the blue hills in line of Boston in front of me at the window, because we were high up on the hill. The hospitals are usually up on a hill. So I left after I finished my cigarette, I left the utility room, and I heard, hey, what's the matter with Patti? Get her, huh? And they said, yeah, I know. She did this thing called jogging.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, what happened? I was smiling. I was just, ta-da.
Yeah.
I love it.
So it was the next day. I was really sore. I had to take a few weeks off, and I didn't run sore. I did a marathon a few months later. I fell in with this group of runners, male runners, and they had just finished Boston. They're still regaling about their effort in Boston, the run of the hoses. Yep. So one guy, get this, one guy says, I'm kind of in the group, but not really part of the group. I can only keep up with them for a mile. And they're regaling about this Boston Marathon, which I never heard about. And I looked at them and I blurted out, I'm going to run that marathon or something like that. Yeah. And they looked at me and they said, well, you have to qualify.
Right.
And I was incensed. What? You got to prove you can run a marathon to run a marathon? I mean, that was so against my thinking. And I didn't know how long it was. And I said, oh, okay. And he said, yeah, we're all going to this race in Newport, Rhode Island. He said, but, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. All you got to do is run 3.5 hours. You girls can do 3.5 hours. Us guys, we got to go under 3.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, if I knew my swear words. I looked at him. I sized it. He was a cop. I looked at him and I sized him up. And I thought, you can do it. I can do it.
Good for you.
I don't know where that came from. No, really, I was serious. So my highest mile week was 40 miles. I did 1 16-miler and then took the week off because I thought I was going to die of a heart attack. And then I did a 10-miler and I took a week off because 10 miles is far.
Right.
Well, and then I did the marathon in Newport, Rhode Island. I won it like 5 times. My first time was 2:53:40.
Wow. Your first marathon.
And you were still smoking, right?
Oh yeah, I lit up right after the race. It's the best thing that came out.
I read it took you 2 years to quit smoking after you really kind of got started running.
Wow. Because you're talking about a change of lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I was in the crust of, I wanted to get up and make sure I ran in the morning because on the Be Nice to Patti campaign, I made a clock and I wrote out the clock, and I put on the sides my time, what I did with my time. And I thought, okay, this is my time. I'm going to pick 1 hour for me. I can do anything I want, but nothing's going to get in this hour.
Yeah.
So that's how it started.
Wow.
And so I didn't really, I ran sometimes over an hour because the long run took me long.
Sure.
And I missed all hills. I would never run a hill. That took me a long time to do that. Then I was married. I got married in between all of that. There was other things that happened. And then my husband finished ahead of me. At the start of the race, he said, he and his friend turned around because they were going to run the race together. He turned around and looked at me and he said, hey, do you want me to do the first loop with you? I was like, no, go ahead. No, hey, go ahead. And so they go off. I'm in the chute that finishes, and here she is, winner, Patti from Quincy. I'm like, yeah. But I mean, I'm like, what? I think I did something wrong, because they're announcing my name.
Right.
That's all you hear is your name. You think you did something wrong. So I'm in the chute, and I see my husband, only a few people up, and I yell, hey, and I cut the line. And I tapped him on the shoulder and I said, hey, how'd you do? And he said, oh, did you drop out?
Whoa.
I know. I said, no. Didn't you hear? I won.
Oh, my gosh.
I know. And I said, so what did you run? He said, I did a 2:53. I said, wow, I did a 2:53.40. If I knew you were that close, I would have beat you.
I love it.
Oh my gosh.
We got
Pat,
divorced.
this is your well, so Pat, this is 1976.
Yeah, 1976. Newport Island.
I'm going to kind of jump ahead because I love this. We're going to run out of time, and I love your stories, and I love your emotion. You signed the first contract with Nike in 1980. I think I read was the first pro woman contract with Athletics West.
Right.
So
and everybody else was my lawyer.
From absolutely, I hate to say it, a very rough start, but a very, what potential? I mean, to off that training to run a 2:53.
No, you have to understand. It's not so much the training. It's like the power of one, like it says, the mind is the athlete.
Yeah.
And you need your priorities. You need consistency. You need all of that stuff, and that's what I coach now. And that's what I tell people. Yeah, da. It's the why you want it. That's the big thing, right?
How did that
why
progression,
are you doing this? Huh?
How did you go from 2:53? Just give me, the next year.
Okay, well, after 2:53, I had a knee problem, and it turned out I had a Baker cyst. So I had that removed, and that took time. I mean, I had good insurance. I worked at a hospital. So I had good insurance. And so I had it removed, and I missed time. I still have a big, the scar still bothers me, believe it or not. It's amazing. Let me see. I missed Boston. I had to re-qualify, so I had to go back to Newport. And then I did a 2:47. But prior to that, like a week before, 2 weeks before, there was the Barney Bell Championships in Boston, Mass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gail Warren came, Kim Merritt came, and I thought, I'm going to beat them. I had no idea. I ended up second. Lynn Jennings won.
Okay.
And I lost it on the stairs. Whoever heard of a road race with stairs?
Oh, my gosh.
I know.
Beta breakers, maybe, or something like that.
Oh, no. This was a championship race. And on Memorial Drive on the bridge, you had to climb up the damn stairs.
Oh my gosh.
When I lifted my legs, they burnt. And I didn't run with pain. I would just stop. But I had to continue because I was in the race.
Right.
And anyways, we ended up getting second. And Lynn and I ended up running, I think, the fastest times in the country that year.
Wow.
Peg Nappel, I think, had the American record, but we ended up running 34 something each. It was good. It was like I did like a 34:40.
And people should know Lynn Jennings was a 3-time world cross country champion. So those stairs she probably loved them. She probably thought that was awesome because she was good at that kind of rough terrain.
That little pimp squeak would like you so well.
So, wow. And so, in your coaching, are you kind of self-coaching? Your husband's kind of helping coach? Are you really under any guidance?
No, no. Sometimes I bounce things off of him when I'm looking for time. I said, what do you think about this? I want them to go here. I said, but what's the time? Sometimes the times I'm a miss. Yeah. And I say, well, I want them to do 70s. That's okay, right? I said, I'm going to have them do 19, 16 of them. They go, oh yeah, that's fine. Okay, good. Stuff like that. I'll just, I just want to hear. It's like thinking out loud.
Yeah.
Danny and I had started a homeschool running club years ago. 20 years ago? Yeah, about 20 years ago. It was called the Connecticut Homeschool.
I remember that.
Yeah. We were the first one in the world to have a homeschool running club. Who knew?
Right.
So, a couple of our kids got, a couple of the kids, we coached 65 kids, and a couple of them got college scholarships.
Wow.
Was the impetus for this because homeschool kids they really didn't have an outlet then to like do the school
No,
sports?
you couldn't. No, high school homeschoolers, you did not participate in high school. I mean,
so this gave them that opportunity to be part of
not
the team.
Usually. I know maybe some states did, even though we paid taxes into the for the schools and the teachers. We weren't able to partake in it because we chose to do it ourselves, which is fine. I mean, hey, the less I had to do with the system, the better.
Right.
However, what it came down to, we could compete with private schools.
Ah.
Okay.
So that was really good. Like my daughter was in 3rd grade, going into 4th grade, I guess around 8, and she was competing with high school girls, and she finished like 3rd or 4th.
Dang. Wow.
I want to bring you back though. I got to get back to this because this intrigues me. How did you get hooked up with Athletics West? I mean, your performances every year, I'm assuming kept getting better and better and better.
Dickie, you remember Todd Miller?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Todd Miller was the rep for Nike in the Boston area.
Yeah.
And he knew Tony Revis, and I knew Tony Revis.
Sure.
I lived with Tony. Joe and I lived with Tony and his wife up in the loft. And Todd and Sue Lupica always around because they had the radio show, Runner's Digest. And Todd being a Nike rep over time, because I won so many races, I guess, in the, not in the local area, every town. And I started getting Nike shoes. And, at the time, $19 for a pair of Brooks Villanovas was expensive.
Right, exactly.
And then you would pay, $3.50 to have them resold?
Right, yeah.
And I'm like, and then you would scramble up, I hope I can get the $3.50.
Exactly.
I mean, life was so different. And so what happened was, and this is, I think is very important. I had more problems, snide remarks, this sound, you know that sound?
Yeah.
That.
Right. Yeah.
From women.
Women.
Oh, yeah. Like, who the heck did I think I was running with all these guys?
Wow.
Aren't you afraid of getting big legs? Who do you think you are running and taking a trophy away from a little kid? And I'm thinking, it's a 10-miler.
Right.
What? So, I mean, I was very quiet. I was intimidated. I mean, not now, but I mean, I was intimidated and I took things to heart. I had a nurse come over after I worked the 4 to 12 shift. So she came over after work so we could have a couple of beers. And on my thing, I had the cement blocks and the wood, and I had my trophies up on it, and I was just, And so we're sitting there and having a couple of cigarettes and drinking a beer, and she said, I don't understand. Why you have all these trophies? I said, this one's from Brockton. This one's from Dedham. This one's from Weymouth and Cohasset. And I'm like a peacock, woo.
Right.
And she says, I don't understand. I said, why do you run these races? You're taking trophies away from little kids.
Oh,
And
geez.
I honestly, I took that to heart, and that kind of ended the conversation. It was time to go, da 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 da. And I was like, I was hurt, and I said, I don't see kids. I don't see kids. I don't see kids. So I took time off from running because it bothered me so much. And then I said, screw it. And I just started running again, and I went back to the camaraderie. I missed it. The running community was so welcoming and so friendly and honest. Did you know that you can't lie if you run when you run?
You can't lie?
Yeah, you can't lie. You can't lie. If you're running, you can't lie. Oh, I can't lie. I mean,
No, you've never met a fisherman, have you? Runs. Okay.
We just stretch the story. So Patti, did Nike come to you, or how did that relationship develop?
Over time, I got my name, Patti Cat, on back of my shoes. They got ripped off. I was getting shoes. I get the colors I wanted. I went to Hawaii. I had won it for, I think this was my third time winning, maybe my second.
The Honolulu Marathon.
Or the first. Yes, Honolulu Marathon. I think it was the second time I won it. But, I was always in their peripheral. And they were just starting. Jeff Hollister.
Yep.
And Nelson Ferris. They were just more or less without, developing running because they like running.
Yeah.
And a group of us, me, John Dimmick.
Remember John?
Yeah, from Vermont.
Yeah.
There was a group, Herm Atkins.
Oh, yeah, Herm.
Yeah. Oh, isn't he a nice guy?
Nice.
Oh, I can't remember all the names. Oh, I see their faces. But anyways, there was a group of us, and they took us on a running tour. We went to like Puerto Rico. We did the Cuomo, Cuomo, half marathon. And I saw Henry Rono, Lassie Viren, and Meredith Yifter.
Right.
Going to the bathroom.
Runners.
Guys, I'm like standing there. You gotta go. Yeah, they were there. So I mean, I was in their peripheral.
Yeah.
I was there, but not. And then Strouser, you remember Strouser?
Yeah.
The big guy.
Right.
I mean, I loved him. Oh, he was part of the design thing, and I was invited with another group of runners, to Sun River in Oregon. So we'd be a part of the meeting for the shoes, and I was like in my glory.
Right.
I had a nice little condo thing in the lodge. It was great. I had a wonderful time. And back to Hawaii. I mean, this is how the build up. Things are coming around. I'm getting equipment. I mean, I get the body bag filled with all kinds of clothes.
Yeah.
I mean, just throw them at you. And then we went to Hawaii, and one of my rewards from Nike, they said, well, I won the race. And this was not pre-planned on my part. I mean, pre-planning, I knew I wanted to win. That was pre-planned.
For sure.
I won. After the race, they said, well, why don't you all come out to Lahaina? And I was like, where's Lahaina? What do you mean?
Lahaina?
What are we going to do? And they said, oh, no, come out. Well, spend like 5 days with us. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I can. I'm thinking, I got to work. I got to pay my rent, So I said, okay, yeah, I'll go. And I'm thinking, by the time the second day, I'm really sweating bullets because how the heck am I going to get, my share of the rent? But anyways, I voiced this to someone. And I said, I saw their bill. They took us out to a restaurant, and the wines we were drinking, like $80, $100 a bottle. I didn't drink wine then. I didn't drink. I was done. I was done drinking. I didn't drink it really. Yeah. I think I was done smoking too. Maybe not. But I didn't smoke there. I don't know. I said to somebody, I, I said, I said, did you see that? I said, for crying out loud, the bill's like $500. So I said, I could live like 3 months off that.
Yeah, right.
Really? I was incensed. Yeah, I mean, in my own way. I didn't march around like mad or anything. I said it to this woman. I said it to a woman, just like a pouring of my heart. I said, I don't get it. They spend all this money. I'd much rather have the money. I'd much rather have the money.
Right.
I mean, how could I enjoy this when I'm sweating, my share of the rent back home?
Exactly.
I got to go work it, and then I have to make excuses, why I don't have it. I'm just sweating bullets. So time goes on. 1980.
Yeah.
Winter, February. Yeah. Talks begin. They weren't the only one I talked to. I should have went with the other company, but I can't name them. I should have went with the other company.
I was going to ask you when the money came in, because I saw Cascade runoff. We talked to Greg Meyer a week or so ago, and we were talking about that race because it was kind of controversial because they were giving prize money. You were there. I think you had won it the year before. I think you finished 4th or something like that. And
I was on the outs. I was on the outs. I was quitting.
Well, you were getting money to run as part of the awards. And Greg kind of shared with us that, that was a taboo thing, but they were starting to had the trust fund and blah, blah, blah. And it kind of snowballed after that. And so do you remember the first day you made money running?
Yeah. When I signed my contract, I bought a house.
Wow. Do you want to share? Is it confidential? Is it none of our business? I mean, some people will tell you, some people go,
no, I'm not going to tell you.
That's fine.
But it was pretty good.
To buy a house.
Hello.
Right.
Well, I remember you were at Houston in 81. Dick was there. I was living off of his generosity. He put me up in a hotel room. The race director said, Mike, we'll give you a number if you can get here. A doctor paid my airfare. Dick put me up and fed me.
Oh.
And that's the kind of friend he was.
Like then.
That's how
then.
You took care of each other. You were there, won the race. I'm assuming Houston brought you in. Dick got some appearance money, but not as much as Bill Rogers got.
No, but Billy
was a king. Yeah.
Bill was a king.
Bill got a lot back then.
Well, he was
Patty,
king.
Right.
I call you, Patty. You're queen of the roads. There's
right.
No
yeah.
You're the queen.
Has
anybody ever told you that? But from 78 through, when did your career, we're going to run out of time here. You had some great years, 80, 81, 82. I mean, I read somewhere, and correct me if I'm wrong, you ran 48 races within a 52-week period, and you won 44 of the races.
I know.
And it's like, I'm not sure over a 4-year period if I ran 40,
let
alone one of them.
It was exciting. It was great. And I was learning so much. And when I learned something in a race, I applied it to the next race almost immediately. And it would stick. And the fact that my personality was coming out, and I didn't see myself. I did the legs mini, Gloria Ratty. Remember Gloria Ratty?
Oh, she's a wonderful woman.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I did an American record or world record, I don't know which, in Marshfield, Massachusetts. It was a 30K. And Gloria was, the timer and all this. After the race, I came through the chute and I did like a 151, 152 for 30K.
Yeah.
And this is back in 78?
Yeah.
So she came over to me and she hugged, she looked right at me. She's, Patty, what? And she said, you can't run these times here. And I looked at her and I almost burst into tears because I thought I did something wrong. And she said, nobody believes you that you're here. You have to go out there.
Yeah. Wow.
So I did. And I fell flat on my face.
Well, just to put that in perspective, that's like 3 36-minute 10Ks back to back to back. A lot of people wish they could run 1 36-minute 10K.
Right.
Well, I wish I could do that now. Yeah.
I hear you.
Well, you know what it was? I have a tremendous concentration when I work on it because I can hold. I knew I wasn't very fast. My fastest quarter is only 67. My fastest half is 2:17. And my fastest mile in a mile race, and I won. I usually win these things, was 4:51. So I really wasn't very fast. However, my 2-mile time in a race with 50 cadets on the Coast Guard Academy, I ran 10:04.
Wow.
So I could hold.
Yes, you and I were a lot alike. I wasn't very fast either, but I could hold a good pace. Yeah.
And that's Squire's influence. I think that's Squire's influence.
Totally.
He takes advantage. He took advantage of your personality and your stick-to-itiveness and your want and your why. Yep. And he would have you do your workout, and like you'd be right on the edge. Edge. And then he'll say, that was great. How about a bonus? You have a choice. And you're like, you got to do the bonus because then you feel like deflated. Right. You feel defeated if you don't.
Exactly.
So you got coached by Coach Squires?
No, I was going to say that. No, there's a story about that. I did ask Coach Squires to coach me, and I told his sons this story, and I told the movie people this story. I went to Boston College, and it was the day he ran with his hat and cigar, and he did like a lap, a 600 to revisit his record.
Yeah.
After he's done, he's leaning on the fence like this, and I'm like me. I'm kind of it's a guy. He's in his 40s. He's kind of gruff, And so I walk over and I look at him. I said, "Hi, Coach Squires." And he looks at me and goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Hi, I'm Patti. I know who you are. You're the one that wins all those races." And I said, yeah. So I kind of relaxed and look at him. And I said, "Well, I want to know if you would coach me." You know what he said?
What?
"I don't coach anybody with berries."
With berries?
Berries?
Boobs.
Oh. That sounds like a coach.
That to us. And I thought Dick and I were male chauvinists.
Oh, that's a hoot.
Oh, well, okay. Over time, he became like my grand uncle.
Right.
I lived with him for 3 months so I could train to get ready for the 88 trials, but it didn't work out. I mean, I got hurt.
Yeah.
And he came up to visit me in Vermont to see my training trails, where I could run, and designed workouts for me. I mean, our relationship, we were tight, we were close. But that was my first introduction to him. And so I looked, this is how Joe got to coach me. Joe drove me up there because we were kind of running in the same group. He said, "I'll take you up." Because Joe refused me like 3 times. He wouldn't coach me. Nobody would coach me. So I didn't know why. So I asked Squires. Squires said no. And I had heard great things about him. I mean, I heard the great things. So I stood there, and for the life, this is where Patti came out for the first time. I stood there and I hit Joe on the arm and I said, "Do you know what he does?" And he said, "Yeah." "Well, then you do that to me."
Did Athletics West, they didn't have like Harry Johnson was, I know he was one of their first coaches, Bob Sevenin or however you say it.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't really treat Joe as my coach very well.
Oh.
I can say that. He was not treated very well.
Okay.
But I mean, they got great success out of me.
Yeah.
Patti, we're going to run out of time. And before I get off here, I did want to share this with you. I posted a little promo that you were going to be on with Dick and I today on Facebook.
And you've had so many comments.
We have had so
many
comments.
I'm not on Facebook, so really?
Okay.
Oh, my gosh.
I wrote down, these are just a sampling. Okay. And so I put down kind of your record, what you have done over the years, and most people are very familiar. And here's some comments. It says, "Awesome runner." Okay. "A sensation." "Badass Harrier." I love that one. "One of the all-time greats." Now, here's the good one. It says, I tried to run with her in a main road race in Brunswick. All I saw was her beautiful hair waving goodbye to me. She was really fast.
Oh, nice. What's his name?
I'll send it to you. Fantastic
I
athlete.
still have long hair. I still have
With
long hair.
impressive credentials. This is lots of fun kid, like Bill Rogers, always respectful to the fans and kids, a great lady. A beast. I love that one. She's a beast. She was the best there was. She dominated, pure determination. A lot of us had a crush on her.
Absolutely.
And the last guy said she trained hard.
I did.
You did.
And these are just a sampling. So.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I'm sweating.
Now, Patty, last thing before we go.
That heated me up. It's like.
Dick and I talked about this yesterday. Have you ever considered putting your story in Dick did an autobiography. He got a ghostwriter. I don't know if you've got the talent to write your own book. Some people do. Some people don't. I would encourage you, Patty, to consider that.
I got to tell you, I'm having a movie. A movie's being made.
Wow.
Oh, my gosh.
Even
Do you have a title for it yet?
I know there's another department for that. It's put out by Big Beach Productions, picked it up.
Okay.
And Sanjay Rawal, Rawal, is the director. And Alex Mealer is one of the writers. And Sanjay's the writer. And as a matter of fact, the end of this month, they're going to, what is it called? Woodshed. They're going to woodshed and do the script because they already have the draft. It was accepted and approved.
Right. A lot of stuff goes into it.
Yeah. It's a big process. And I think they already have who's going to portray me. It's Native American. I'm Native American.
Right.
And so the fastest Indigenous woman in history.
Dang.
You find out all this stuff,
I can't wait. I still
Patty,
think
your story, I know, your story of growing up, I know it was some difficult times for you and then going on to being such a, one of the world's best runners ever at the, back in your day. And then, but also being the incredible person you are ever since I've known you for 40 plus years, your spirit, your enthusiasm. I thought I was enthusitastic.
Oh, you are enthusiastic.
You write me off the charts, Patty.
You know what it is? I just love, not that I'm not without life's trials.
Of course, we all are.
But you meet them and it's like another quarter, another quarter, another hill. You just meet it and it's, that was good. Oh, okay.
Stronger.
And then it life is a marathon. It all balances out, and I am so glad that I started running because a whole new world opened up.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad you did. Yeah.
Well, and Patty, we can't thank you enough. Say hi to your wonderful husband Danny for us.
He's so good.
He's and Danny was a heck of a runner back in his day.
7 times world cross country team member.
I know it. And we want to thank everyone.
That's amazing.
Right. That's amazing. And we want to thank everyone for listening today. And if you have any questions for Dunn or myself, comments about the show, you can contact us directly at our website at beardsanddunpod.com or leave us a comment on our Facebook, Instagram, or X. All at Beards and Dunn Pod.
And Patty, you've got a website. It's Patti Catalano. If you just Google your name, I think it pops
I
up.
thought it was Patti Dillon.
Patti Dillon. I apologize. You're correct.
Oh, that's okay.
And,
I answer.
You do motivational speaking, don't you?
Yes, I do.
For races? Well, I know Dick's fantastic at it. You and him
I
would be
know. I've
a
heard him
1-2
say,
punch.
Well, did you ever follow him in a seminar? I mean, I had to follow him.
Oh, my Lord. You could hold your own with Dick. I believe that.
Oh, for sure. Listen, when we had Patty to the Beardsley half marathon a number of years ago.
In Duluth, yes.
No, Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. The little town I was from. Detroit Lakes.
Oh, I was there, and that's when Jan Seeley brought me out too.
Yeah, and you spoke there, and you were, of all the people we've had, everybody said, "My gosh, how can you not get fired up after listening to Patti talk.
There you go.
Well,
Patty, thank you so much.
Thank
This has
you.
been
Yeah.
a joy.
You're welcome. This was wonderful. It's great to see you. Wait till I
You
tell
too,
Billy.
Patti.
I'm gonna
I
tell
know it.
Billy.
Hey, say hi to Danny for us.
I will. Thank you. Say
All
hi
right.
to Jill.
Okay, bye-bye, Patti. Thank you.
Bye.